Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. Today I'm out here to clear some old pea beds, and to make the most of the growing space I'm going to get some more plants in. I've actually got two beds to clear. This one was where I grew my shelling peas and they've definitely finished, and just over here I've got my snow peas, which is up on a trellis that I want to grow some cucumbers on. They've mostly finished, so it's time to move them on. They've all mostly dried up now. There's just a few little pods left that I might get some peas out of, but mostly there's been mice or rats, or I'm recently suspecting my blue-tongued lizard might be enjoying some of this as well. So it's really finished. There are some peas dropping to the ground, and I'll be having more peas coming up soon if I don't clear it all. There's some dry pods here too, so I'll be checking those to see if they're any good for next year. Now this is the second bed that I'd like to clear. I usually grow my cucumbers on here, and I have already planted some plants, but because we've had such cold weather, those plants have just kind of withered away, and I'm going to replant today. So I'm going to clear a lot of these dead plants. Over the other side here, some of the plants still remain young and they're producing nice snow peas. So I'll see what I can do to leave some of those. But once again, I've got lettuce that's seeding, and I've also got parsley on the other side that I can move on as well. I'm going to also put in some lettuce and spinach seeds into this little garden. There's some mature pods here that should have some good seeds in it. I'll be checking those and keeping those for next year if they look viable. So I'm just going to start in this bed here with the trusty sickle and pull these plants out. There's plenty of seeds falling out everywhere, but I think there'll be enough critters to eat those ones if I leave them. There's a few starting to sprout, but I don't mind. It's not going to impact on the plants that I'm going to put in. Now I've got plenty of nasturtium plants around, so I don't mind moving some of these on, and there's still heaps coming up. So if I want a nasturtium plant here, I don't have any shortage of them. Clearing the garden's pretty easy with the sickle. I just cut everything off at the root level so as not to disturb the soil. If there's any nitrogen left from these plants, it'll be in the ground, so we want to leave that undisturbed. You can see these nasturtiums are already starting to produce their seeds. Now apparently you can pickle those and make a nasturtium caper. I've never done it before, and I find nasturtium really quite peppery. I use some of the young leaves in salads, but I don't know how I could handle any of that as a pickle. Now I've got a big potato bed elsewhere, so I'm just going to yank these out of the ground and remove any potatoes. Just a few new potatoes from that lot, which I'll make the most of in the kitchen. The garden bed's all cleared down to my trellis. Now I was going to clear around my trellis, but I might just leave it. I think this space is big enough for what I need to plant. And there's still some snow peas that are producing, so I'm going to leave those to finish doing their thing. This is also where I'm going to be planting some more Ukrainian beans when I can get in there. There was some old pea plants in there, which you can see they're the shelling pea type, but it's a bit hard to distinguish those from the snow peas. Some of the snow peas are really getting the thick pods, and they'll definitely be good for saving seeds from. So I'll leave this. Oh, there's some more potatoes hiding in there in amongst the nasturtiums and peas and old lettuce plants. It kind of feels wrong to clear all this space all at once, given there's so much life in these gardens. So now this bed's clear, I can just assess the level of organic material that's on top of it and whether few more bucket loads of compost might help. You can see that that's quite dark and full of moisture, and there's still quite a bit of organic material on top, but I don't want to let it go right down to the soil level and dry right out. It did have lots of little pea plants in it, and the more plants and roots you have in the ground, the more it supports the soil. So because we've removed all those plants, I'm just going to give a bit more organic material on top to help support the soil organisms until the new plants start growing. Now that's looking better. Just here I've got some little seedlings that I started not so long ago. These ones here are rosella, which are really a tropical plant, but you can grow them in temperate climates in the summer. They're more like an annual. So I'm going to include them in my annual garden and just see how they go, because I haven't done rosella before. And these broccoli, I planted these at the start of November. So I think they might do better in the soil. I don't know if it's the potting mix or just the weather we've had, but they're just stalled. So I'm going to get those into this garden and then put some lettuce seeds and some spinach seeds in as well, just to fill it out a bit. Now, as the rosella can get tall, if it is warm enough for it, I'm going to put it on this side of the garden and then put my brassicas on the other side. If it's a hot summer, well, the brassicas mightn't do any good, but the rosella should. But if it's a cool summer, these will stay small and my brassicas should go okay. Last summer, it started off hot and then went cool. So it actually was a really good season for brassicas in this garden. So that's why I'm giving them a go. So there's actually two little plants in here, which I might try and separate. Okay, well that's a good little root system on there. I'll put that one down this end. Now the rosellas are in the hibiscus family, and hopefully they'll grow well enough to produce a flower which you can use in teas, and I think for cordials and things like that as well. We've got some nice roots on the bottom at least. I just found something interesting here. This is the roots of one of the little pea plants, and you can see there, I don't know if you can make it out, see those little nodules there? That's all the nitrogen that's been fixed by the bacteria that form a symbiotic relationship with the plants and store this nitrogen for the plant to use. But now that the plant's dead, all that nitrogen will be released into the soil and hopefully help this poor little seedling that I think is going to struggle actually. But all this nitrogen is in the soil to help these new plants get established and grow. Now just here in the middle of my path, in addition to a lettuce plant that's going to seed and that I can just get rid of, I've got here some leek seedlings that have been in my way for quite some time. So today I'm going to dig those out and move them to our new little garden. I'm getting quite a good bit of root on there as well. See, with that sort of root system, these little plants should take off okay. I'm just going to try teasing these apart. See, that one's come out okay. I'm just going to spread them through this garden. I don't mind if there's two together. And then I'm just going to bury them. It's not really the ideal time to be transplanting these, but I wanted them moved anyway. So it seems like it's a good idea to give them a go here, otherwise they would have just been wasted anyway. Now, just before I water this garden, I'm just going to sprinkle some seeds around. I've got some spinach seeds, which again, if it's going to be a cool summer, these should go okay. And if it's a hot summer, they mightn't do so well, but I've got plenty of seeds, so I don't mind just taking my chances. Okay, so that's the spinach seeds. Now the other seed I've got is just some home-saved seeds for lettuce, which I get lots of lettuce seeds here. So again, I don't mind just spreading these around and just hope that they amount to something. All I do now is just kind of spread them and press them into the ground so they're kind of not too exposed to all the birds. I reckon we're going to get plenty of little pea plants around here too, but that's not going to hurt. So I'll get them all in under the compost if I can. And then we can give it a water. Now, it mightn't look like much at the moment, but give it a few weeks and hopefully this will green up nicely. Now, moving on to this garden bed where I've already tried to grow some cucumbers, but it was just too cold and they didn't get going and died. So I'm going to try again. I've bought some plants and I'm just going to clear out some of these old pea plants and create enough space. There's enough compost on here because I've already done that, so we don't have to move any more in. I'm going to clear some lettuce plants on the other side and just plant out through here, and I might sneak some in amongst the foliage on the other side. Now over this side, I'm going to remove most of this parsley and these lettuces, but not so much that it's going to impact on the snow peas that are still growing quite well on this side. So that's just over in that little corner. Some of these over here have dried out, but I'm a bit afraid if I take those out, the whole lot will come down. I might even have to leave that lettuce, but we'll get in here and see what we can do. So this plant here is a spinach plant that's going to seed. It's just about there in terms of seeding. So I'm happy to leave this here, and if it drops some of the seeds and I get spinach plants right here, I'll be happy. But I'll be collecting all of these and adding it to my seed bank. So I'm going to take these plants out. They're just lettuce plants. Now I can take out quite a bit of this and that won't make any difference. Okay, I'm going to leave this plant here and this. There's still some nice little snow peas coming on it. But if you can have a look here, there's some really good seed pods, which I think will be great to save seeds from. So I'm going to leave this end. It looks like it's taking up quite a bit of this garden, but there's a lot of space down at soil level and these plants should still get the sun because we've cleared a lot over this side, and I should still be able to plant in under there. Before I ship this pile off, I'll just check the seeds. I'm not going to get seeds out of small pods, but if there's some larger pods that look okay. This is the only one I've found. And those seeds should store okay and be great for planting next time we want snow peas. Now this garden bed isn't as cleared as the other one we've just done, but I'm happy that there's sufficient compost on the bed, sufficient light for these little plants, and hopefully now that summer's arrived, they'll get going a lot better than the last lot that I tried. There's some more nodules from the pea plant. See, just there, it's really beneficial having peas in your garden before other plants. And the last little plant, I'm going to kind of sneak in here, if I can, and get it started in amongst the snow peas. It won't be long until the snow peas are finished and I can remove all of this and give this plant that extra space and light that it will probably need. Well, it feels like I've finally got my summer crops in. I've got my cucumbers, tomatoes, eggplants and peppers. So I'm feeling a bit more relieved now, hoping this warm weather continues and we can actually start to get these plants growing. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching and bye for now.